Let's talk about your relationship with John Oates.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you meet him? How did that come about? How the two of you got together?
I met John. I was promoting my first single. I had a band. I had a group called the Temp Tones, and we were Temp Tones. Not because of the Temptations, because we were going to Temple University, and because everybody thinks it's Temptations. So it was a vocal group, and we had a single that we were promoting around the Philadelphia area, and we were doing one of those things where you'd go. It was a complete R&B crowd, and everybody would lip sync their song. And John had a single, and I didn't know him at the time, and he was also there to promote his single. So we were waiting backstage, and some fight broke out or whatever, and the whole show just went to pieces and was canceled. And we were on a second floor, and we went down in a lift together in an elevator, and I said hello to John. I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was it. And I found out he was also a freshman at Temple, and so then we started talking, and we realized, of course, we liked the same kind of music, and we started sharing apartments together because we were both, our parents lived out of town, and we didn't want to be on campus. So we became sort of college roommates, playing songs together, in and out of bands together, again, working very much separately as well. And then after college was over is when we decided to try writing songs together and be Daryl and John.
So you graduate from college. You did graduate.
Actually, I did. I quit 6 weeks before graduation.
Wow.
I know. It was one of those weird things. I was part of it. I was a music major, and part of in those days, part of the requirement to get your degree was student teaching and doing all these things. And I was doing that. I was student teaching at a junior high school, and playing in a bar band at night to try and make money, and also because that's what I did, you know. And my supervisor got me in her room, and she said, "Look, you have to make your choice. You're either going to be a teacher, or you're going to be a live musician, and you can't do both because you can't work till 4 o'clock in the morning and then get up and teach kids at 8 o'clock. It's your choice." I said, "Okay, you really want me to make that choice?" And I walked out of the room, and that was it.
And that was the end of your degree.
That was it.
Now, John, did he graduate?
He did graduate. He was a journalism major.
All right, so you graduate, but you stay together.
Uh-huh.
You're writing songs, you're performing together?
Yep. We were doing just around the Philadelphia area where we decided to literally be just a songwriting duo. And I picked up a mandolin, I don't know why, but I did, and I had a Wurlitzer piano, and John had his acoustic guitar, and we would just play either songs we'd written separately or together, just the two of us. And we'd play these little places, coffee houses, and 75-seat places, whatever.
Now, your early albums weren't a success, certainly not by the standards of what became your standard later on.
Mm-hmm.
When and how was the breakthrough?
Well, it took us time. The first record we made with Atlantic Records, it was sort of all these songs we had compiled. It was a grab bag of things that we had been writing since we were all through college, and it was all over the place. So I understand why that record didn't do anything. We didn't have any singles on it or whatever. And then we had a band, The Luncheonette, which was very successful, but it sort of had a funny slow burn success. We didn't have any big single when the album was actually released, even though She's Gone was on the band, The Luncheonette. And people talk about that album still as being what they consider one of our best albums. But it didn't have that obvious single, or maybe the world wasn't ready for us at the time. Who knows why? These things are strange. And it took a couple of years after that album was released to re-release She's Gone and have that song be a hit song. But it was you were allowed to experiment and allowed to fail, actually, in those days. It was good. It was a good time to be creative because you could do really what you felt, and you didn't have that pressure of, oh man, no singles in that, okay, drop them. That's next. Right. Bring the next band on, It's a little more loose.
But you do break through.
Yeah.
And you begin to have one hit album after another.
Mm.
Hit singles all over the place. You're having enormous success. You're making a lot of money.
We were making money. I don't know how much we were keeping, but we were making it.
Well, that's where the question was going. What happened to that money?
You got me. Ask other people, man. I don't love the music business. You know, it's a funny thing.
The business. You love the music, but not the business.
Exactly. I've always had an adversarial relationship with the music business. You know, a lot of strange things happen in the music business. I don't even call it a business. It's. I mean, I hate to say this. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I mean, music business is more. To me, it's closer to organized crime than it is to a business, because it's based on exploitation and thievery. Even at its best, it is. You know, the artist is always the one that gets the scraps, and that's just the way it's always been. And you don't really make. The truth is, I found is you don't really make that much money from the actual records. You make the money from playing live, and that's where my income has always. You know, we've been live musicians for years and years.
Fair to say it's one reason you still do it.
That is one reason I do it.
Well, I'm interested in this. I envisioned you and John each getting checks for $1 million every other week, or once a month, or every 3 months.
If we did, I didn't see that million. You know, I mean, a lot of the money was. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard for me to talk about this because I don't want to. I don't know, but it wasn't handled very well by other people, and I blame if I had put any blame on anybody, I put the blame on John and I for not paying more attention to things in those days. Now we've changed considerably, but you know, we didn't know what we were doing.